Alright, so here we want to solve this trig equation. Cosine of 2 theta is equal to cosine squared theta minus 1/2. Okay, so first things first, right? We notice this cosine squared theta, right? Now, we also notice a cosine 2 theta. And this 2 theta is going to cause problems, okay? Because these are not the same in terms of the same trig function, okay? So remember, cosine of theta and cosine squared of theta are in terms of the same variable, right? It's sort of like an x and an x squared, right? This cosine of 2 theta, this is like a different variable, like an x and a y here, okay? But what do we know about cosine 2 theta, right? We know that it's a double angle identity or double angle formula. There's actually three different versions, right? There's 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. It's also equal to 1 minus 2 sine squared theta. It's also equal to cosine squared theta minus sine squared of theta. So which one is going to be the best one here to plug into this formula? Right? It actually turns out that we're going to have two of them, right? So this one is fine, the 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. Or the cosine squared theta minus sine squared theta is also actually going to work okay. So let's just plug in the top one, okay? So cosine of 2 theta is equal to 2 cosine squared theta minus 1. Right? So all I did is I just replaced the cosine of 2 theta, and the other side of the equal sign sort of just stays the same here, right? Now you notice that we can actually subtract this guy over, right? And so we can subtract the cosine squared theta to both sides. Notice 2 cosine squared theta minus 1 cosine squared theta, that's just equal to 1 cosine squared theta. Okay. I can also add the 1 to both sides here, which will cancel it out on the left side. And on the right side, we get negative 1/2 plus 1, which is equal to a positive 1/2. Notice, I can actually just take the square root of both sides here, right? The square root of cosine squared theta is equal to the square root of 1/2. Well, wait a minute, what is the square root of 1/2, right? Let's do this work on the side here, right? Well, it's square root of 1 over square root of 2, right? But we don't like the square roots on the denominator, right? So let's rationalize this. So actually, what do we get? We get square root of 2 all over 2, right? So really, what does the question boil down to? Where does cosine of theta equal plus or minus square root of 2, right? So notice we started out with this equation here. We used an identity. It did a little bit of algebra, took the square root of both sides, and what do we end up with? Where does cosine of theta equal plus or minus rad 2 over 2? So, well, based on the unit circle, right, we should know this answer, right? Where does cosine theta equal rad 2 over 2? It's actually at pi over 4, at 3 pi over 4, at 5 pi over 4, and also at 7 pi over 4. Right, so we're actually going to get 4 solutions for this guy, right?